House. Amina Smith here with you. The Celtics win it in overtime against the Warriors, 121-118. And guys, it was shaky in overtime and really starting in that fourth quarter as well, trying to figure out if the Celtics could walk away and run away really with this game. Scal, your biggest takeaway after this win?
So find a way. They had a really gutty win. And I got to admit, like, you think about Tatum's first half, you think about Jaylen Brown at times just getting back after the injury. Brown was fantastic late in the fourth. Tatum was great all the way until you got to that last 2 minutes. So Celtics just finding a way to get a win in a night where they didn't have a lot of things going for them.
What did Brad Stevens say in the pregame, right? Finding ways to win, multiple ways to win, different ways to win games, and this was definitely a different way. Early in the first half, they played one way. In the second half, they started playing the same way. Then they switched. Then they started going to the post a little bit with JT. Then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, they came out. They were moving that ball. That ball was hopping. Bodies were cutting. They played a different way. And they was able to claw back into this game. And then they won the game. They tried to throw that thing away. They tried to throw that thing away, but they still got the win. But to be able to win it against a team like this, I don't care what their road record is. Yeah. I know what their pedigree is, and I know what this Warriors team is very capable of. And to get this win, and like it's almost like kind of, even it's a regular season game, kind of getting over a hump, though. Like, okay, they had us down, but we fought back, and we're showing that we're a better team than them. So it was a great win.
Scal, what does it say about this Celtics team that they were able to make those adjustments in game in order to win this matchup against the Warriors? Because just like Eddie said, they were a different team in that fourth quarter. They were finding different ways to get a win in this game tonight.
That's what Eddie, a lot of times it's just finding a different way. How are you going to, what are you going to do tonight that's going to help you get over the hump? If you're not shooting the ball well, what are you going to do? I thought Eddie called it great. They went to the post. They started playing out of the post. And it didn't mean they were taking all the shots from there. But the offense, instead of driving the ball, which they seem to struggle with, they're getting the ball to the paint through the post up, and then they're playing out of it. So that just shows a different element. And we've been seeing Tatum do that more recently, running down early, getting those early post-ups. But that was another way for them to win. And that was the way tonight that they could cut down on their turnovers. And I thought that worked in the fourth quarter.
Things started to change in the fourth quarter for the Celtics. So let's take a look at how it all went down. And Al Horford, he really started it off in this fourth quarter for the Celtics to score 104-100. The Warriors are up, and then Al Horford, bang, hits the three right there. TD Garden goes absolutely wild. And then Al Horford on the defensive end gets a huge block on Jordan Poole. Al Horford all around the court in this game. Later on in the quarter, Jaylen Brown ties it with the three-pointer. And, of course, everyone goes crazy. And the Celtics, they call a timeout with 0.5 on the clock. They try to get a shot off, doesn't go, and that's how we get to overtime. Eddie, what did you see in that fourth quarter to help the Celtics tie this game up and give them extra basketball time?
I seen them playing with energy, effort, and with a purpose. I think in the first half and in the third quarter, they were kind of meandering around, not really getting after it, and then all of a sudden it seemed like they, I don't want to say hit the panic button. It was like, whoa, we better get going right now before this thing gets out of hand. And it was looking crazy. I think we took a lot of threes. And one thing I think we look at the game and at times they make it a lot harder than what it needs to be. Even though you're getting an open three, sometimes you can still drive that open three you get, especially if they're not going in. And I think in that fourth quarter, I know in that fourth quarter, they made a determined effort to say, you know what? We're not going to just settle. I know I got a good shot, but I can create something else, and I'll create a better shot for you, or I can create something for myself.
Yeah, I like the way that they defended Steph Curry in that fourth quarter. I just thought if anybody was going to beat him, they've already lived that story, right, where Steph Curry dominated, and we're over here scratching our head, how is he doing this? They were determined to say, we're going to keep a body on Steph Curry no matter what. Even at the expense of Klay Thompson getting a layup, Jordan Poole turning the corner, they were not going to let Steph Curry beat them this game. And then I'm going to go back to Jaylen Brown. Like Jaylen Brown in the fourth quarter struggled coming back from injury, took some time off, got it. Maybe he was a little bit rusty. Phenomenal fourth quarter, defensively as well, and then offensively with the big three, and then I thought he was just going to attacking the basket.
The one thing that confused me a little bit in that fourth quarter, though, Scal, was not getting a timeout before that 0.5, because I thought about it and I said, okay, you have 0.5 on the clock. I don't know if there's a guy on this roster that's going to get that shot off. I mean, of course, you could be lucky on any night, but why not call a timeout during a sequence when you know the Warriors they're making a run?
You mean instead of waiting until
that 0.5?
I just feel like Joe Mazzulla won't call a timeout if he likes the shots that he's getting.
Okay.
You know, and you know, a lot of times you wouldn't want to call a timeout during a certain stretch because that fourth quarter, I felt like the Celtics had the momentum. I don't know if they lost the momentum. I felt like they played great. And you see Steve Kerr waiting. Am I going to bring Steph Curry back here? Am I going to wait? Then he calls a timeout, brings him back. But Joe Mazzulla really liked what he saw in the fourth quarter, and I think that's the reason why he didn't burn those timeouts.
Let's take a look at overtime and how it went down for the Celtics and how they won this game against the Warriors. They were down 111 to 110. And then the Celtics, they go on an 8-0 run, just like you mentioned. Jaylen Brown, he's having a heck of a night coming back from that groin injury. Jaylen Brown, he gives him the lead. And then Al Horford in the corner with the three. He had a huge night. Al Horford with 20 points and 10 rebounds. And then Malcolm Brogdon, big block on this play right here. That leads to Jason Tatum on the offensive end, getting the three-point shot right here. And then we all know what happens at the end of this game, 121 to 118. The Celtics win this one. Eddie, what was a difference maker for the Celtics in overtime?
Well, let's just say in the whole second half, it was Jason Tatum. You know, at the end of when we were here at halftime, it was like, can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown wake up, right? This is their moment to say, we're the best players out here. I know, Steph, we're going to give you our love. You out here balling and all, but it's a new day, right? And if you're going to make that, you got to beat them. You got to beat the champs if you're going to be the champs, right? And so he came out with a different mindset in that second half. What was it, 21? What did he have, 21 points 21. And 11 rebounds in the second half. Jaylen Brown, I think he had 4 points at halftime. He ends up with 16. So he had 12 in the second half and a big fourth quarter in overtime, making some big shots. So I look at those two guys and the way that they were able to take over. And everybody else follows suit. I mean, you talk about the Brogdon block. You talk about the Al Horford block. But then the one thing also, they never really settled. Like, when they started getting the momentum, it wasn't, I'm just going to jack a three, because they hadn't been shooting the three well. They were getting paint touches. They were attacking. And then the three was coming off of multiple paint touches. So, to me, that's what the difference was from the first half to the second half, and it was all spearheaded by Jason Tatum.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Like, Tatum did not play well in the first half, but he kept going. And at times, whether his turnovers are there, it doesn't matter. He's coming down, he's taking the next shot. He's believing in his own game. He puts in the work, and same thing with Jaylen Brown. Like, those guys have been motivated by the Warrior loss, and you can see it. They're not going to get discouraged by, turning the ball over or missing a few shots early.
And Jaylen Brown with his first game back after suffering from that groin injury just about a couple weeks ago. Well, he's with Abby Chin right now after this win.
All right, Jaylen, first of all, take me through the game-tying bucket.
Just needed a big basket. We were down 3. Smart made a good play. I just let it fly. And haven't been in rhythm like the whole game, but just focus on the next play and got an open look and knocked it down.
And then what was said in the huddle amongst yourselves going into overtime, because you guys came out confident?
Yeah, just be aggressive. I started feeling a little bit more rhythm, coming back from injury a little bit. So, the Warriors is a tough team to, be hesitant on. So you just got to be aggressive. You got to make your mind up and go. And in the overtime, we did that.
How is that adductor? Played over 40 minutes tonight.
Yeah, what a welcome back, right?
Seriously.
Chasing Curry around all game, but I love it. That's a part of the challenge. I wouldn't have won it any other way, and I'm happy it came out to be a win.
Jaylen, you've talked about all season how much it hurt losing to that team on this floor in the finals. Is this a hurdle you guys had to get over?
You could say that, or you could just say it's one game. It was a big win for us, 8 in a row now, and we want to continue to keep it up. We got some more big games coming up, so I just want to keep the vibes going and keep getting wins.
Jaylen, congratulations.
Thank you.
A look at that final score from inside of TD Garden, 121 to 118. The Celtics win it in overtime.